Good morning. We go all right. Good. We Sister Angie put on there 8:30 to 11 to 12:30. We ain't going no 12:30. Don't worry. Maybe 11:30. There'll be a break in about an hour and 15 minutes, a 30-minute break. We're gonna go down that hallway. They have some refreshments for you. So I know some of y'all are seniors and you need some refreshment. So we're gonna give you some and work with you. Let us pray and we'll move on. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this great opportunity to be able to come together and to look at your word and see what you have to say to us today about maturity, growing up, and those kind of things. And I just thank you for these folks who are faithful. And I pray that the energy that you are, that would energize me to be able to energize them, that they might be able to find their proper energy mix and their spiritual gift and their calling and use them for the glory of God. Pray today that you would manifest yourself, show yourself to be God. I pray today that there would be aha moments where we would become awakened to what it is that you are saying and what you want to do. We just thank you for being such a kind God, wonderful God. And whatever is accomplished, we want to give praise to your name. We pray it in Jesus' name. If you know him and it's all right, say amen. Come on in, y'all. Sister Angie, see if you can back it off for me a little bit and get a little, it's not so ringy. Thank you. Today we're going to be working on material that comes from a book entitled The Life Model, Living from the Heart That God Gave You, published by Shepherd's House in 2000. The updated version is called Living from the Heart That Jesus Gave You. It's published in 2017. The Kindle version can be downloaded from Amazon for $9.99. But I know some of y'all need a book. So I bought 25 books. And one of our members got one today. She found out I had them. So I only got 24. But you can get a book from me today if you would like, you prefer a hard copy. But I'm telling you, you can go online and get it for $9.99. It's Kindle though. But if you just need a book, I got 24 books. They're $20 a piece. That's about what it costs me. I'm not making any money, just trying to make it easy for those of you who need a book. And you can give me $20 and you say, I don't have $20. You can cash at me later on. Just go find my name. It's a $ Flanvis, FLANVISJOHNSON. Make sure it's me now because my son is out there too. He'd be happy. He'd be happy. Although the book is the basic work of E. James Wilder, Ph.D., there are 4 other collaborators: James Friesen, Ph.D., Ann Bierling, Rich Kopechka, Mary Beth Poole. Shepherd's House originally ministered to street kids and later became a low-fee counseling center staffed by volunteer counselors from Fuller Seminary staff. A capable team was drawn together to help broken people recover from negative habits, addictions, abuse, and trauma. This is called the Life Model, and it's a model unifying approach to ministries of counseling, recovery, pastoral care, prayer ministry, deliverance, inner healing, child rearing, body life, and health, all of that together. There's a new thing that I'm studying called interpersonal neurobiology. You can look it up online and find some more out about it. But it's about integration, integrating all of these things together. We have been dealing with America and the West is into analyzation, breaking things apart and trying to understand them. But we're starting to find out that's not a really good model for growth and understanding. We need to integrate these various things. Many of us here are seniors, and so you understand what the problem is right now, that you go to a doctor, and the doctor wants to deal with one thing. And I'm saying, now, you operated on me, and you took a vein out my leg and put it in my chest for my heart. Later on, one of those veins swelled up. I called you, and you said, come on in. I came to you, and you said, oh, I'm going to send you to a vein specialist. Well, the vein specialist didn't operate on me. You operated on me. And whatever you did is causing what I'm experiencing. So why am I going to another doctor to talk about what's going on? But we don't do integration anymore. So I deal with that. I'm the heart specialist. And then when I had my heart attack and started going in there, I found out there's two specialists. You've got the electrician and you've got the plumber. So I'm dealing with one side. Oh, we don't deal with that. Well, are you a heart doctor? Yeah, but we don't do that. That's the electric side over there. We'll set you another appointment. So what's going on is it's difficult to get an integrated or view of what's going on with the human body when you got 30 doctors, all of them looking at different pieces. But the body is a whole, it's one. And so what we're finding out is that we need to do more integration. And there's a whole model on that, and I'll do some teaching on it at a later time. But some of the materials taken from the Life Model Maturity Indicators chart, that chart can be found online. If you look at your notes, I gave you the place where it can be found. So you can go there, look. You can pull it up now if you want, but I don't know what the internet thing is here. So, but you got iPhone, that's going to pull it up anyway, probably. So this is also a maturity skills assessment. Y'all in big trouble today. I don't want you to come here, look at me, walk away, say, I learned some information and I'm smart now. I want you to take an assessment and let's see how mature you really are. Because you think you're mature. I'm feeling something right there. You think you're mature. Let's find out. I mean, not just by you looking in the mirror and I think I'm mature, but let's take an assessment and see how mature we are. We're probably not going to get through the whole model. I'm just going to get it started because I did this maybe, I think I did this maybe a year or two ago, and I outlined the entire book. And I didn't know where I was going to use it or if I was ever going to use it. People ask me now, so Bishop, are you still doing sermons? Every day, all the time. I'm working on sermon, doing papers. They say, where are you going to preach them at? I said, I don't know. God will make a way. He'll open the door, and I'll preach them somewhere at different places. But we are living, while you're living from your hurt, you may not be able to discover the characteristics of your heart. The Bible is full of truth about living from the heart that God gives you, or we'll call it today, wholehearted living. The life model is about receiving, giving life, reaching a higher level of maturity, receiving healing for life's inevitable traumas, having your life governed by the joy of the Lord. We're studying that on Sunday morning. People are starting to get into it. They're starting to get a hold of it. And I'm just getting rolling, and they already want to shout. They're going around, and they're sharing with people the joy of the Lord, shining on folks. It's good. But that process doesn't happen in isolation. It takes a family and a community. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Brene Brown says that joy is one of the most difficult emotions to experience. And many of us struggle with what she calls foreboding joy. Foreboding joy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm 74 years old. I talk real slow except when I'm preaching. Sunday morning they'd be, I can't keep up. But here you'll be able to keep up. Matter of fact, some of y'all done left and went to McDonald's and come back already. We are always waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's the kind of joy we got. I mean, I'm blessed, but, and then we're looking for that other shoe, something gonna happen bad. And during the Depression, when people lived in tenements, they could literally hear their neighbors above them drop their shoe on the floor. That's where that saying comes from, waiting for the other shoe to drop. They could actually hear them come home, take off their shoes, and boom, they could hear it. So the antidote to foreboding joy is the practice of gratitude. Amen. See, many people they really don't have joy because they can't really get to joy. They're so busy looking for something negative to happen. So gratitude will solve some of that, but gratitude must be practiced. I know you've heard the attitude of gratitude, but who has the attitude of gratitude all the time? You have it some days, and if you work on it, you'll have it some more days, but you got to practice that. And so you work on it, you practice it, and people need to know who they are. They also need to be reminded who they are frequently by those who love them and really know them. That's what the church is really all about. They need repair so they can achieve wholeness in this fractured world. It takes a whole lot of work in the area of maturity, and it takes God's hand to boost people when they are stuck. And guess what? It takes a lifetime. In the church, particularly the house of the Lord, because we're good at that stuff. We like to help people, and I've been helping you for 30 minutes now. You healed? No, I'm not. I'm about 30 minutes from where I was. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some experience. It's going to take some stuff I got to work myself through. So we're interested in God's wonderful gift of salvation, and salvation works among us directly through God's activities and indirectly through his people, the people of God, his church. And that's the sad news I have for you today. If you want to get healed, it's going to take the people sitting around you right now. Bad news, I'm sorry. We want to get healed, but we want God to do it. And if some people get involved along the way, that'd be okay too, but don't let them get too close. But God works through people, and often through people that we don't choose. I was doing a seminar as a teaching, and Pastor Pat, our secretary, just made a statement, and she got kind of caught onto it and can't let it go. Affinity cannot be assigned. Affinity, when you naturally hook on to somebody and begin to like them and they begin to like you, you can't assign that. We try to assign it in the church. I'm sending so-and-so over there to pray for you. Like them. I don't like them, and don't send them. I don't want them. That's not the person I want. Send so-and-so. Well, affinity can't be assigned. It happens naturally, automatically. And God sends those people, and it happens on its own. I might talk a little bit at some point, because I know it's going to come out of me because I'm studying a lot of stuff. The all by itself principle. That if we do the things that God calls us to do, there's a certain place where miracles take place all by themselves. You don't have to make them. You don't have to push them. You don't have to create them. You don't have to manufacture them. They'll take place all by themselves. And I'm going to teach that. I don't know when I'm going to teach it, but at some point I'm going to teach it, because it'll save a lot of you a lot of work, because a lot of folks are trying to manufacture salvation out of their own human willpower. They're working real hard. And I was talking to one of my friends yesterday who we do theology together, and I said, there's a lot of churches, they're growing, but they're growing by human power. They're growing because somebody out there is working real hard and trying to make it grow, and it's not the growth of the Lord. Everything that's swelling ain't God. Everything that's growing and blowing up ain't good. You get a tumor, it'll swell faster than anything in your body, but it ain't good. So everything that looks like growth is not good. So from one point of view, it's our work to grow and reach maturity with all the saints. I'm working on another model that I'm going to try to teach you at another time about the transcendent work of God and the imminent, everyday in our lives work of God. God is working at a transcendent level, whether you know it or not. God is up to something. And he's always working. And we forget that, what he's working, and we become fixed and focused and fixated on what's happening right here now in front of us. And God's working on that too. He's energizing the subject. He's energizing the process. He's energizing the object. He's working on all of that. But at a transcendent level, God is up to something, and he's doing something miraculous, and that can give you some joy. It can give you some release, that no matter how bad it looks right in front of me, that ain't the whole picture. God is up to something, and he's working. And so we can thank him for that. But so we're going to talk about those two poles. I've been studying quantum physics a lot. So I'm going to say some crazy stuff, and I'm going to ask God to release you and give it to you. Because quantum physics deals with complementarity, the two poles. Whenever there's one truth, there's always another truth. So there are two truths here. We're going to look at the natural truth, what ought to be happening at a natural level. We'll talk about that a lot today. But we also need to look at the supernatural pole, what's going on at the supernatural level in truth, that there's something else happening at another level. And we need to, one of those words, one of your key words today is going to be integrate. We need to integrate them. They need to come together so that we're doing both of them. I have some pastors that I'm working with that we fight about this, and the Lord just revealed to me one of the reasons we fight is because we don't have an integrated view of church growth. They're telling me, if you do this, your church will grow. I said, you can't guarantee that. Yeah, I can. If you just do what I say, your church. I said, no. Do you have any validated studies on that to tell me that that'll make it grow? No, but I know what'll make it grow because I've watched it before. You just tell me what you think. Okay, what you've seen, your observation. How many of you know that what you observe often isn't true? It seems to be true on the surface, but it's not. And so in quantum physics, what happens is they begin to look at energy at the surface level, and then somebody began to look at it at a subatomic level, and what they found out was not more things, not more stuff, not more material, but space and electrons. They found out that it was something going on at the subatomic level that was far different than what they could see. And so once again, you have those two poles. You got atomic level, got subatomic level. So unfortunately, there are barriers out there to our growth and our maturing. One of the problems with maturity is the church does not require us to mature. We don't even talk about maturity. Yet the Bible is very, very keen on that. It comes up a lot. And I'll give you one scripture for this, and you said, it ain't on my notes. Everything I'm going to say ain't on your notes. I'm just flowing. So it'll come out in various places. Ephesians 4:16, right, 11 through 16, that we may grow up in him, into Christ, into the head, who is the head, through whom the whole body is fitted together. And according to that, which every joint supplies. I wrote a book on that, so you can go get it if you want to do it. What every joint supplies. And then the next phrase, according to the proper working of each individual part. By the way, I might as well drop this on y'all while I'm starting and just get you messed up from the beginning. The word each individual part is an incorrect translation. The word there is energeia, E-N-E-R-G-E-I-A. I know how some of y'all are. You want to write it down. Energeia. And it is an untranslatable word. Energeia, energes, energeo, energemata. The cognates comes up about 34 times in the New Testament, all mistranslated because the West have no translation or teaching on the energy of God. So what we translated, what the West translate that is, according to the proper working of each individual part. Let's put the word back in there. According to the inner uncreated energy of God. That's a whole lot different than parts working properly. That means they got to be energized with the energy of God. So when the relationships are what they ought to be, and the parts are, or saints are energized, then You get all by itself miracle. Then the church will build itself up in love. I don't know why y'all ain't shouting. I'm talking about miraculous stuff right here. Then the church will grow all by itself. You don't have to make it. You don't have to work on it. You don't have to. It'll happen all by itself. But there's a lot that needs to take place to put you in that position. All right, so there are barriers to growth. Trauma, as we will refer to them here, are wounds or injuries left in our identities that render us less than what God had in mind when he created us. Sin always blocks maturity. Any questions you got, write them down, and at some point I'll try to take some of them. Sin always blocks maturity. This work can only be accomplished by life in the Spirit through the hearts that are alive to God. Often the church focuses on the spiritual work of growth and maturing without addressing trauma. Often counseling entities focus on trauma without addressing the spiritual side of healing. So, y'all flowing with me? Okay, y'all not saying nothing, so I can't tell. So you have to have what? Integration. We have to integrate healing and the spiritual side and the natural side. But some folks just want to go and get therapy, which is good, but they got spiritual issues they're not addressing. Some folks want to get spiritual healing, but they got traumas they're not addressing. And those need to be integrated so that we're getting a holistic health. And although the church is beginning to destigmatize counseling, more Christians are in therapy. I'm going to make some statements, and hopefully you won't get too mad at me. Therapy alone is not enough. Therapy needs to be supported by relational, remedial family and a community. That's 2 times I've said that, and I'm going to talk about the poles in a minute. You need personal help, you need family help, you need community help. By the way, when you start talking about threes, then we start talking about triunity, then we start talking about God. All 3. You need some personal help, you need family help, you need the church community help. So even though we're beginning to do that, therapy needs to be supported in that way. Therapeutic work needs to be lived out, supported by family and community. Since churches are no longer moving towards community, it's easy to get punished in the church when you try to heal. We'll punish you because I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're doing. I don't want to talk about that in any way. Most of what goes on in the church, and I'm an integral part of the church. I believe in it, but we have some issues that I want to bring up and talk about because I want you to get better. I want you to heal. And I want to talk about it. Don't you talk about it. I don't say nothing negative about my church to me because I don't want to have a problem with you. But I'm going to talk about it so that you can understand. Most of what happens in our churches today is entertainment. Okay, what's going on up in the pulpit? And how is it, am I caught by it? Am I entertained by it? Does it keep my energy? It's entertainment. And what's going on in the pews is unimportant. But I'm here to let you know that what's going on in the pews is what's important. Not just that we get a entertaining sermon, but how do we apply that sermon? And if you get therapy, where do you live out your therapy? Okay, you got therapy. You're supposed to be healing. Where do I live that out? Where do I get to see you healed? In community. You can't live it by yourself. You live it in community. And so at this point, it's important to clarify that the model does not require people to return to chaotic, dismissive, or abusive families in their attempts to get unstuck. A lot of people have been talking about church hurt and whatever, and the church then got offended. You know when they were always talking about the church hurt, church. Well, they got hurt. That wouldn't be unusual. Made up of a group of people like us. We will hurt you. Okay, because we don't know no better. And we're not committed to love. I don't care whatever we say. I told one person, that I said, they heard me say relationships are everything, and they was trying to say that. I said, maybe you don't want to say that. Maybe you just want to say relationships are important. Not everything, because that ain't how you're living. Rather, we pray that God will heal each of us to discover whom he had in mind and for us to be in this life-giving community. So God wants you to be something. Be somebody, not just do something. Be somebody. And family and community can fail, and a loss of loving community has created a nationwide identity crisis. I laugh. I love all people, and I love young people in particular, but I laugh when they're trying to tell me who they are at 16 and 17 and 21 and whatever. I know who I am. Oh, that's interesting. I'm trying to think of her name now because it's Saturday and I'm tired and I got to preach tomorrow. Joan Chittister wrote a book called The Gift of Years. And in her book, she talks about the fact that she believes that you could not know who you are before age 70. That messed up a lot of folks right there, didn't it? You walking around at 35, telling me, I know who I am. 70, at age 70. Maybe you might know who you are by then. Knowing who you are is not an easy thing. It's difficult. And it's imperative to point out that we need people to know who we are. We need people to understand recovery. And the Shepherd's House Counseling Ministry has discovered in over 20 years of ministry one striking conclusion for 3 professional experiences. Students grow in their faith through relationships. I have found out in my recent reading on interpersonal neurobiology and a lot of stuff that I'm reading right now, and courses I've been taking at the University of Akron, trying to finish up this psychology degree. It is not the technique that heals you. It is the relationship with your therapist. It's not the technique. They can use any technique they want. It is the relationship that brings the healing. And wounded people heal in relationships. And unbelievers come to the Lord through relationships. I was just reading a book this morning by Christian A. Schwartz, the author of Natural Church Development. He's written 3 books on the energy of God that you hear me starting to talk about. And he talked about, they did surveys of people who were belonging to the church to see who were they connected to. And most people were connected to about 20 people who were unsaved, but who should be open to salvation because you have a relationship with them. We don't know it because that's not the way we operate. We're trying to get rid of everybody except for saved folks. You ain't saved no more, get out of here. You ain't my friend. But we interact with a lot of people, right? I can't hear y'all. And some of them are not saved, and if they're in your sphere of influence, they're in a position where they can be witnessed to because they are experiencing the energy of God, but they don't know it's God. Can I talk a little bit about that? God is energy. And he energizes everything that is energized. Energy is not good or bad. It depends on how you use the energy. So unsaved people are living God's world, and whether they know it or not, they are experiencing God's energy. Now, they may take that energy and buy some marijuana, but it's God's energy. If it's not God's energy, if God's not energizing everything, you have a theological problem of almost making the devil another God. He's got an opposite energy or an energy outside of God. Well, where do you get it from? He created his own energy? Or is God the creator of everything and he's given and energized, but you can use that energy either for him or against him. So there are people who have spiritual experiences, but they don't know God. Not yet. We could help them with relationship. Can I share with you what it is you're thinking, what you're facing, you're going through? That's what Paul did. Paul went into that one city where they were talking about the Greeks and dealing on that, and he said, listen, your own prophets have said this and that. I know the name of the God y'all talking about. His name is Yahweh. Y'all talking about some stuff, maybe you don't know who he is, and you sign some other stuff, but I know who he is. The Israelites were taken down into Egypt, and they were shown all kinds of gods, but the Israelites said, we know who those gods are. They are one God, actually. His name is Yahweh. So you can help those people understand that that energy that you're experiencing, that's working in your life in certain ways, and you're trying to do something with it, that's called Jesus. He's trying to get your attention so you can come to know him personally. So you can know him transpersonally without knowing him personally. Oh, I done started already. I said I wasn't going to do that to you and mess you up. How could I know him transpersonally without knowing him personally? Because I know his effects. I know what I see him doing. I know what's going on around me, but I don't know him personally. I've never been introduced to him. So I see what's going on. But it's transpersonal. What's transpersonal? We talk about this, and I'm going to get off of and try to go on. We talk about the sun. You can't interact with the essence of the sun. It'll burn you up. You can't look at the sun too long. It'll blind you. But the heat rays and the light rays from the sun bring benefit to the earth. That's where we interact with the sun. God has an essence that you can't interact with, but his energy comes and is all over the earth. But when you want to meet him personally, you got to meet Jesus. Even though stuff is going on all over the earth, because in him, Paul said, we live, and in him we move, and in him we have our being, even as your own prophets have said. We missed the point that he's talking about not what the Bible says, but what they said. And he said, I just want to tell you who he is. So anyway, let me go back to where I was. I got off. That's what happens to 74-year-old people. Students grow in faith through relationships. Wounded people heal in relationships, and unbelievers come to the Lord through relationships. Therefore, our motto, relationships are everything. So, consequently, maturity is not a spiritual gift. Oh, this is going to be rough. But it's a byproduct of salvation. It is something we as Christians must work on our entire lives. Now let me stop for a minute, because I'm saying stuff and I'm saying it lightly and I'm just moving forward like you got it, but I'm not sure you understand the impact of what I'm saying to you because you've never heard it before. How many of you have heard, I got to work on maturity all my life? You heard that because nobody's teaching that. We just come to church and won't be blessed. How can I get a blessing? I'm too blessed to be stressed. Pray for me that I might be blessed. No, you got something you have to do. Something that you need to work on your entire life. It is something that we as Christians have to work on through the power of the Holy Ghost. And one of the main faculties for working on growth and maturity is the heart. This word comes up more than 1,000 times in the Bible, making it the most common anthropological term in the Bible, and yet it is overlooked and we rarely teach on it. Literally, the heart are the eyes and the ears to know God. Matthew 22:37, and he said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. And yet, how many of you have ever heard a sermon on the heart? Not too many. You probably heard it if you've been with me. I've talked about it, but you're not going to hear any sermons on the heart. We think brain anyway. We're Westerners. We just think. Think, not heart, not feel, not emotion-fused thought. Think. By the way, most of you, even if you were who you thought you were, you probably couldn't think your way out of a wet paper bag. You think you're going to think your way out of problems and just going to think and that's going to solve your problems? It ain't going to happen. Because what's motivating you, this is all new stuff. This will get me kicked out of most churches. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to help you. That's why you came. You want to get help, right? What's motivating you are your emotions, not your thoughts. That's what's motivating you. You go over to Burger King right now, try to get a salad, and your emotions will have you buying triple Whoppers and all kinds of stuff. Then you try to use your mind. You can use your mind, but that's not what's leading you. What's leading you is the right side of your brain, which is more technically called the heart. So I've been synthesizing heart stuff and brain stuff for a long time. So we'll do that somewhat today as we move in it. So Ecclesiastes 11:9, rejoice, young man, during your childhood, and let your heart be pleasant during the days of your manhood. Follow the impulses of your heart and the desires of your, yet know that God will bring you to judgment for all these things. As a young man, you're moving by your heart, not just by thought. You feel something and you do it. It feels good. Do it till you're satisfied. But remember this, God will bring you to judgment. You got to give an answer for all of those things that you do. So living from our hearts means that there's an inner directive that, if governed by the Spirit, will keep us on the path that is spiritually attuned to who we are and how God is leading us. The heart is the seat of the intellect, emotion, will. In short, it's the seat of our personality, and it's much greater than the brain or intellect or simple rationality. That's not going to be my total thing today, but I want to start there. So we have to understand a little bit about the path. Y'all hanging, y'all doing real good. You got about 50 minutes. Can you take it? And then you'll get a break. The path. This is really practical, and I think it'll help a lot of you. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you say. In this case, it doesn't even matter what you feel. If you are on a certain path, that path will inexorably lead you to its destination. So make sure you know what path you're on. Because we're talking, I'm on this path, or I don't want to be on that path, or it doesn't matter what you say, it matters what path you're on. So let me illustrate. So you are on I-77, headed north. Where are you going? This is not a trick question. They're looking at me like, is this a trick? It's not a trick. Where are you going? You're going to Cleveland. Now, what if you say, I don't want to go to Cleveland? But you keep traveling on I-77 north. Where are you going? Going to Cleveland. What if you pray that you don't go to Cleveland, but you keep driving I-77 north? Where are you going? Going to Cleveland. Why? Because you're on the path. And the path takes you where? Whatever its destination is. Well, I'm trying to teach y'all something. So I got a brother, and he keeps messing with a certain sister. And I said, brother, if you're not intending on, being with her, you probably ought to leave her alone. And he said, Lord, I'm not planning on, I'm going to spend my life with her. We just talking. I said, brother, you're on the path. And he don't understand me. He said, no, that's not what we're doing. I said, brother, you're on I-77 north. If you're not going to Cleveland, you need to get off now. Because the further you drive, the closer you'll be, the harder it will be to turn around and get off. You can take that and apply it in many areas in your life. When you're on a path, it's taking you somewhere. We want to get on God's path so that it's taking us to his destination. So even though we need growth, even though we need maturity, even though we need healing, I wish people could understand there are no magic bullets. It has been said that God is not the great magician, he's the great physician. That saying addresses a question which people need to clearly think about, whether fixes from God are always quick. Because sometimes fixes from God are not quick. He works in us. He points us toward wholeness, even when we're in pain. But it's not simply his work. It is our work too. Remember what I said? I'm going to keep trying to illustrate it for you. Transcendent, imminent. Miraculous, every day. Which level is God working at? Just see if you heard me. Which level is God working at? Don't be scared. You can't learn unless you make some mistakes. Adults learn by being wrong. Which level is he working at? Both. He's working and he's also energizing what's going on down here. So, it's his work, and while we work, he's not undoing or in contradiction to our work, but he knows how to make it work together so that all things work together. We call it omnicompetence. Not omnipotence, but omnicompetent. What the world is that, Bishop? God is so competent that he can take anything you can throw at him and work it out. Not against your will, but in keeping with your will. Now that's a God. An omnipotent God is a God who takes everything, makes it what he wants, determine it beforehand. That's how some people believe God operates. And it's all determined. Well, what kind of God is that? That don't take a lot of power. I just say this and everything's going to happen like I want. But when I give you a will, and you can do with your will anything you want, and I can still work with it and turn it so that it's your will, but it's my will, without abusing or without contradicting your will. So it takes maturity and tenacity on our part to achieve wholeness, and that means, this is so much better. I'm going to pick out something better next year. That means working with your pain. Church people are in sanctified denial. They don't want to work with their pain. They want to act like they're not in pain. How are you? Blessed. Okay, I'm down with you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's good to be blessed. But is everything all right, though? We can't say it ain't, because if I say it ain't, it's like a testimony about God. Nothing's wrong with God because you messed up. God is good. But you're just messed up. So his work in us is to bring redemption to all the traumas that have broken us. And our work is to strive for maturity as we progress toward wholeness. Redemption means that our greatest, out of our greatest pain can come our most profound mission in life. Out of our greatest pain is where you can minister, because you've been there. You've been through it. 1 Corinthians, I think it might be 2 Corinthians 1:3, don't quote me right in there, that you might comfort others with the comfort wherewith you have been comforted. I've been through it. Now, every now and then, I used to work with folks who did drugs and whatever, and had substance abuses and whatever, and the Lord used me. He energized me. I could help them somewhat, but not like somebody who'd been through it. I've never been a drug addict, so I don't know what that's about. I've never been a chemically addicted. I mean, the potato chips, but I mean, but nothing hard, no hard potato chips. But so it's hard for me. I can't relate to them at the level that I've been through that. See, when you're dealing with me, you could put stuff over on me because I've never been through it. So I don't know what you're talking about when you say I went over there, but I didn't use. Okay. 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 I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I never been through that. But the person who been through it, they think, come on, man, don't do that. You know you use. Come on, man. Come on, let's deal with life. Let's deal with reality because they've been through it. They know what it's all about. So the life model differentiates between two types of traumas. What I'm going to tell you right now is worth the whole seminar. Even though we're going to go a lot deeper, it's worth the whole seminar. There are two types of traumas, type A traumas and type B traumas. Somebody might be asking right now, so I back up and I try to help folks. I got all kinds of folks here. Some folks don't know me, some folks. So interpersonal neurobiology, Dr. Daniel J. Siegel says you got to name it to tame it. If you don't name it, you can't tame it. In other words, that which is unconscious, non-conscious going on with you is driving you whether you recognize it or not. When you bring it to the surface, it's so you can make decisions about it. You can't make decisions about something that you're unaware of. So the non-conscious is working. Oh, okay. Some of y'all wasn't here last Sunday. Let me try to help you. You are roughly processing at this moment 11 million bits of information non-consciously. 11 million bits of information. By the way, 10 million of them are through the eye. Your eyes have to take in all this information non-consciously. Do you recognize how many non-conscious things are going on right now? Your heart is pumping. Your blood is flowing. Your lungs are breathing. Hormones are being released in your body. I could go on and on and on. There's so many things going on, and you don't know nothing about them. They're just taking place. Matter of fact, you don't control them, because if you try to kill yourself by stopping breathing, all you'll do is knock yourself out and your lungs will come back online. They're autonomic. They happen automatically. Only 6 to 60 bits of that 11 million bits rise to the level of consciousness. I want you to make sure you understand what I just said. 6 to 60 rise to the level of consciousness. So what are you controlling? Not a whole lot. While you say, I made up my mind. I'm glad you did. But there's another part of you that's going on that made up its mind, and you're unaware of it, and it's going on automatically, autonomically, that we're going to help to talk about in terms of how it works for healing. So type A traumas are the absence of good things that we all need. These traumas produce problems in relationships, so recovery requires a loving relationship to repair a type A wound. That's the absence of good stuff you should have gotten at home. By the way, and I'm not going to get into this as deep as I want to, but your first relationship with your mothering person or people will determine the architecture of your brain, the actual structure of your brain, and how you're going to interact with people for the rest of your life. Okay. For the rest of your life. So you say, well, what am I going to do about that? Don't worry. I got you. You can heal that. You can remedially heal it in relationship. So we'll talk about it. But first, I can't give you the answer to the question, the problem. You don't know what the problem is yet. I used to do that with Logos students all the time. We started in Logos. How many of y'all took Logos with me? Okay, the systematic theology, most of you, they start off, it's week 1, class 1. Put your hand down. And, well, Bishop, I got a question. You don't know enough to ask the question. Just sit there. I'll let you know when you know enough, and then you can ask the question. You don't know nothing yet. Learn first. Type A trauma is what I should have gotten at home. I didn't get it, and I'm missing some stuff. Type B traumas are bad things that should have never happened to me. That's a whole nother category. Type B traumas. They create fear. The bad event needs to be revisited, and fear needs to be deactivated so that life can proceed without fear. So let me try to help you all, those of you who go to therapy. Not everything needs to be brought up and revisited. Okay, some people, that's their mantra. We got to go back. We're going to have to dig into that. We're going to have to see what happened to you. Then we're going to have to re-experience it. You don't want to do that with everything. It'll create more problems. You want healing, and going back and digging up stuff doesn't always bring healing. Sometimes it brings more trauma. Grief recovery, I've had people who are seniors, I just stop them. They got a grief recovery chart that's 10 miles long. And they writing, and Bishop, I'm not. I said, stop. Don't do no more. It's too much. You can't do it. You haven't processed anything in your life for 80 years, and you're going to try to process it all today? Stop. Don't go no further. That's enough. Okay? That's not always healing. But sometimes you have to bring it up to deal with it. And guess what? I know when you want to bring it up and we're going to deal with it. You know how I know? It'll come up by itself. You'll say, I've been having, there's a lot of bad dreams. I've been having, okay, it's coming up. If it's coming up, then we probably need to deal with it. If it's not coming up, then maybe we don't need to deal with it. Dr. Platt was my doctor. How many, and y'all know Dr. Platt? I used to go to Dr. Platt. Dr. Platt's chief characteristic was he was a great, he could discern what was wrong with you. He was a great diagnostician. And I would go and I would say, Dr. Platt, I'm this or that. He said, I think I know what's wrong. And then he would tell me, and that sounds right to me. And then Dr. Platt would say, is it bothering you? I said, well, it's not necessarily bothering me. He said, then let's not bother it. It ain't bothering you. Let's not go bother it and start something. Let's just leave it alone. As we're aware of it, there's something going on. If it gets worse, we'll treat it. But if it's not bothering you, then leave it alone. And so sometimes that's it. But it requires a resolution of a wound, puts it in the past, that requires enough maturity to embrace the wound and invite God's healing so the wound is no longer delimiting you and holding you back. About a third of us have been traumatized as children in the form of physical or sexual abuse. I'm sorry to bring that up. I'm just mentioning it. Don't go there. I don't want you to think about it. Many more suffer from absences of good things that are necessary for emotional maturation, and help is not usually available. And that's what we're working on. We're working on maturity. I apologize. I hate to bring that up, but I'm just giving information. Don't go there. We used to do this, and people did not understand. Even in church, we start working on certain things, and people want to go deal with it. Well, let's deal with that. No. People they will be traumatized. And then after they're traumatized, then somebody got to deal with them. You can't traumatize people and walk out and go home. That's what we want to do. Just bring it up and talk about it, and then, okay, well, may the peace of God be with you. And ain't no peace of God with me. I'm messed up now. Okay, so no, if you're going to bring it up, then I would usually have counselors already prepared on the side so that you could go and deal with them. And if something happened, you could go talk to them. Not just walk out in the cold after you've done dealt with all of this stuff. God created us with minds that automatically seek to be whole. And the quest of wholeness is wonderfully boosted by joy during your early childhood. Now I'm going to go through some of this as quickly as I can and set the context. I told you I'm not going to get through, but I'm on page 7. I'm going to find how many pages I got. I got 37 pages. Okay, I'm on page 7. But don't worry, I got books here for people who want the whole thing. They say, no, that just got me started. I need the whole, you can get it there. In the first 2 years, The desire to experience joy in loving relationships is the most powerful force in life. I am an aficionado, an expert on attachment theory. I've read so much stuff on attachment theory. In fact, some neurologists say the basic human need is to be the sparkle in somebody's eyes. Your mother should be just all over you, loving you, attentive, responsive. Well, and sometimes mothers can't do that because of what happened to them. So I'm not here to blame mothers who couldn't do that, because a lot of them couldn't do it because they could only pass along what was passed to them. And so no use blaming them. No use blaming yourself, because your response is a normal response to trauma and pain. Nothing wrong with that. It's just we want to get you healed. So the innocent, pure desire to experience joy begins in childhood and continues throughout life. All of us need joy. Joy is relational. It's a contagious experience. That's why I have you going around the church shining on people, saying, oh, I just love to be in your presence. I'm just so glad what you've done for me and how you've helped me. That joy is what we need to be able to move forward. And I know that when you don't get that, then your capacity to experience joy is small. It's crimped, it's curtailed. And so I have to explain that to my wife at certain times, because she doesn't understand what's wrong with me. Poor thing. She just married me. She thought I was better than what I look. She said, I'm marrying Bishop Joey. She didn't know I had issues and that my joy was crimped. That I don't do joy real well because of what happened in my home of origin. No abuse or anything, but just kind of some benign neglect. And I've talked to my parents, and they knew I'm going to share this. They're both going on to be with the Lord. But I asked them, could I share this kind of stuff? And they said, by all means, please do, to help people. Because they didn't know how to do that, because it never happened for them. So I asked my mother and father one day, all the things that happened, you never told me that you loved me. Why? You told me you were proud of me. That's not the same thing. Pride and I'm proud of you, that's not about love. That's about performance. I like it that you get straight A's. I like it that you're in National Honor Society. I like it that you student council. I did all that stuff because I'm trying to get some love. I need your attention. I need your love. But they told me why they didn't. They said, nobody ever told us. Nobody did it for us. We didn't know we needed to do it for you. Nobody ever loved me. Nobody put their arms around us. Nobody told us. How do we know? And so they did not know. They did the best they could. Now, we have another problem, and that is we don't have multi-generational families anymore, so you don't have the teaching, or you don't even have a model. We used to all live in the same household, as bad as that was, and whatever might come out of it also has some good point, that when a child is being raised, that there are grandparents in there where to help the parent, because I don't know what do I do? They even tell you, put your hand behind the baby's head. Don't let the baby's hair flop around like that. When you don't have no help, you don't know. You just go pick the child up, and we got him like a loaf of bread, and grandparents, no. Okay, so they help us, and we get that joy. And the experience goes back and forth at an amazingly fast rate. And in fact, y'all should like some of this, y'all science folks. Y'all should like this. 6 cycles per second in nonverbal face-to-face exchange. All the time growing stronger joy between both people. Both are growing. When a mother's doing that for the child, not only is the child growing, the mother's growing. The mother's growing in her ability to love. And so 6 cycles per second, that's how many times the exchange rate is going back and forth. That's going to become important in a minute. I'll tell you hopefully later. Now, when ancient biblical authors inspired by God and 21st century neuroscientists propelled by knowledge all agree that joy comes through powerful relationships, we know there's something profoundly important to be learned from this. By the way, I got to go off on a tangent here for just a moment. Because God is the creator of everything, When scientists study that which God has created, they may come up with different language and different knowledge, but it doesn't have to be in contradiction to what the Bible teaches. It's another way of looking at the same thing. Now, a lot of times it is in contradiction because the scientist doesn't know enough Bible to be able to integrate it with the Bible, or the biblicists don't know enough science to be able to integrate them together. But praise God, you got me. I was going to help you to put them together. And so now, particularly for those of us who are in recovery, it's essential to be in authentic, joy-producing relationship that can build joy, strength, and assist in returning the joy. How many of us in recovery? Okay, a few of us, good. Every hand should be raised. We're all in recovery. We're all trying to recover from what happened to us, from what we didn't get, from what we should have got, from what was done to us, or what I think should not have been done to me. We're all in recovery. So having enough joy is fundamental to a person's well-being. We know that a joy center exists in the right orbital prefrontal cortex of your brain, right up here. You have a joy center. And it has executive control over your entire emotional system. Now, this is interesting. So that joy center is having impact on everything. And when the joy center has been sufficiently developed, it regulates emotion, pain control, but watch this, immunity centers. You always getting sick? Maybe your joy center is not what it ought to be. It guides us to act like ourselves, self-image issues. It releases neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. You don't have to get high. Just get loved. Your body will release this. And it's the only part of the brain that overrides the main drive centers. That means food, sexual impulses, terror, rage can be overridden by the joy center. So if you got sexual addictions and all that kind of stuff, unless we get into your joy being straightened out, you're not going to get healed. Because that's where the control center is at. So you got 15 more minutes, y'all, okay? Building joy. By the way, I'm very kind to you all. This ain't nothing to me. Okay, I read 2 hours every day. Now, when you read 2 hours every day, people be like, well, Bishop, how you do that? How you do that? It's like eating an elephant. What did you say? Like eating an elephant. How you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And people think, so you can stay focused for 2 hours? No. No. But what do? Refocus. 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 I can refocus, whereas you quit. You won't turn the TV on. That's enough of that. I'm refocused. I can do that. So I can do this for hours. Just like somebody said on Sunday, I've been preaching, and Pastor Darren is done in 30 minutes. I've been about an hour. And people say, well, it don't seem that long. You can preach for as long as you can regain attention. You don't preach that long, but you can preach that long. You got to be able to regain attention. Relationships, same principle. How do relationships last? You got to repair. Relationships are messy, and there's a lot of fractures. But you just keep repairing them. You repair them over and over and over and over again. And if you stop repairing, what do you have? A broken relationship. It's not going to go where it needs to go. So building joy. Building joy means getting closer to God and getting closer to people. I define joy as supernatural buoyancy in the midst of things that should have sunk us. But Dr. Shore defines relational joy as somebody's glad to be with me, being the sparkle in somebody's eye. Now, let me tell you something. If that don't sound like the Bible, what don't? I'm just somebody who's glad to be with me, and I am the sparkle in their eyes. That is a neurological definition, not a biblical definition. That comes out of neuroscience. So watch this. While it is a very authentic process, it cannot be fabricated. There are some joy-building ideas to first practice with our families and then extend to the wounded community. So here comes the first real practical part. Y'all ready to go? Oh, this is so exciting. You say, I ain't that excited. Your joy center's broke. If your joy center wasn't broken, you'd be excited. But your joy capacity is small. I'm trying to expand mine. So here's what we do. I don't know if I gave them to you or not. Did I give them to you? Did I give them to you? Like first one is smile whenever you greet those you love and use sincere voice tones. Is that there? I ain't think so. I ain't give y'all all of that. Because that would be plagiarism. You can get the book if you want that. Okay, but I'm going to give them to you. So, 1, smile whenever you greet people you love. Use sincere voice tones. I have the ability, the God-given ability in my autonomic nervous system to read your voice and to read out of it danger or calmness. My brain will tune my hearing so that I can hear certain things in your voice. That's how we survive. That's how you survive. When there were lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, if I said, ah, your hearing says somebody's in danger. Okay, just like a baby crying. Do you know that a mother can tell whether the baby's wet, hungry, fussy, without thought, without rationalization, without talking? I can read that baby's exactly where it is emotionally. You do the same thing. It's called neuroception. When you walk up on people, you already read them even though you don't know it. And you're already saying, step back, oh, ooh, ooh. Okay, all y'all spiritual people, we call it discerning in the spirit. Okay, but what it is a God-given system that's been built in so that I know whether I'm safe or not. Okay, and to know who to interact with it. Number 2, ask questions that invite others to tell you truthfully how they are doing and what they are thinking. Listen intently without interrupting. One of the things that we need to do is create curiosity about people. Curiosity it's a context for relationship. I want to know who you are, how you're doing. Tell me more about yourself. What's going on in your life? I mean, how things are going. Curiosity. Not go over there and talk about yourself the whole time. I'll be bored. We won't get in touch with each other. I need you to ask me some questions about me. How you doing? And don't take the story over when I'm sharing. Let me share. I had the same thing last summer. I'm sharing right now. Let me finish my story before you interrupt and tell me your story. Let me finish my story. My story is important. By the way, you shouldn't tell your story to everybody because stories are sacred and not everybody has earned the right to hear your story. Not everybody can handle your story. So you need to be able to discern where you're going to share and where I'm not going to share it. Okay, I'm going to share it with you because I think you're interested and we have a relationship. I'm not going to share that with you. I don't care even if you ask. Okay, because I don't trust that you're going to be able to handle it, that you'll be able to use it. 3, take a sincere interest in really knowing the other person. Work hard to understand their fears, their joys, their passions, their talents, their pain. That's what church ought to be about. That's what before service is all about. That's what after service is all about. This is more important than just simply coming and sitting, getting a sermon, shoveling down some information, walking out saying, I had a good time, I learned this, that, and the other, God is really good, and you have not interacted with anyone. Remember, most of what we're doing in this church is not interaction. It's just we're sitting beside each other, and I'm being nice to you. So I talk to you, I turn and look at you, but we're not going anywhere together. We're not going to lunch together when this is over. Don't come over my house. Don't ask me any questions. I'm not interested in knowing you. I'm just sitting here beside you, Praise God. That's all it is. Don't mistake it for more than that. Okay. 4, treat each other with dignity and respect when ending the discussion. Try to make both people feel affirmed. 5, use touch whenever appropriate. Hold hands, link arms, give hug. Use physical connection as effectively as you can. I do that all the time, but I try to do it without people knowing what I have done, and I try to do it in a non-sexual way. And you have to be very careful about how you touch people, because not everybody wants to be touched, needs to be touched, can be touched, and you ought to be careful when you do that, when you cross into other people's space. And sometimes I just ask them if I see they're having trouble, is it all right if I hug you, or would it be all right if I, because that's not safe for everybody. So you don't just walk up and walk in people's space, and that's dangerous. It can harm them. 6, discover what brings the person joy. Time to talk, encouraging notes, helping hand, evening walks, custom fit your attempts to bring joy. 7, give them little surprises that will cause their eyes to light up, and let your eyes light up too. 8, cherish babies, children, by establishing through words and actions that you are authentically glad to be with them. So you'll notice, if you notice me, that whenever children come up, I get down on their level. I don't stand above them and talk to them. I bend down, stoop down to their level to interact with them where they are. They are important. They are people. They're little people, but they're important people. Just because they're smaller, less developed, doesn't mean that they're unimportant. So I want to transmit that to them, because all of this is a part of their growing up. Now, I've been using a term, I got to see if I can bring this together before we go to break here. I can't think of the first term now, but we've been talking about your primary caregiver. That's one of them. Your first relationship. One book I'm reading calls it your mothering person or mothering people. I want to try to start using that, because that's more user-friendly and people can understand it. You had somebody who mothered you. Sometimes it's more than one person. Okay, so your mothering people or mothering person, that's all a part of you being who you're going to eventually be, and is critical to your growth and development. So I want to say this one more time before we take a 30-minute break. Your first relationship with your mothering people, mothering person, constructs the literal architecture of your brain. The literal matter of your brain is formed, and that form is impacted by that first relationship. Not just the emotions, which are also formed. Self-regulation, which is also formed. Self-concepts, which are also formed. There's a whole lot of stuff that gets formed in that period, but the literal structure of your brain is being formed. One more thing to keep you thinking while you're going, and then I'm going to sit here and answer questions for anybody who has them, because I already ate early at 5:30, and I'm not going to eat again until 11:30. What was I going to say? That's what happens when you get old. You should have said what you was going to say instead of prefacing. Oh, well, it'll come back to me. So you need to learn these things because you can heal. What did I say? You can heal. You don't have to be stuck where you are. You can get better. You can become effective. You can live a great life. You can overcome A traumas. You can overcome B traumas. You can become who God created you to be. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. And so I'm going to pour as much down into you that I can get with 9 pages trying to get to 37. But we'll get as much as we can. And I'll probably, the next one, I might just jump over some stuff. And you know how I start jumping? Like a grasshopper. Oh no, I got to go through maturity stages. Ooh, look at that. Ooh! You're going to go out this door, you're going to go down that hallway, and you'll follow around, and they've got some refreshments there. Take 30 minutes. That's just enough time for you to go to the restroom, slam that cupcake in your mouth, and then come back. Yes, brother? Yep, don't bring any food or drink back in here. You say, why can't I do that? I'm just a pastor. I don't make the rules. So they just want to keep it clean. Please don't eat it all back there, please. Thank you. And then we'll start about 10:15. Okay? You need a book? Come get one. You can always pay me later. Oh, I'll take it now. I'll take it now. All right. Oh, 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 oh. That's what happens when you get old. I turn that way and pull something. Got to put it back. All right, how was that food? Praise God. No, I'm good. Thank you, sir. All right, what I'm gonna did, I tell you what I'm gonna did, the Cajun cook would say. I'm looking at probably 11:30. That'd be about an hour and 10 minutes. That's long enough. Y'all probably fried as it is now, but we're gonna see if you can take it without totally frying you. And I'm gonna skip through some stuff, and that'll kind of give you the overview of what else is in the book and what else is there for you if you wanna do it. Then for those of you who are rocking with me on Sunday morning, or even if you're not, you can go to the House of the Lord YouTube page, and you can get my Sunday morning sermons. They'll be recorded there, and follow through. On Sunday morning, I'm working on left brain, right brain concepts. I'm using a book called The Other Half of the Church by Jim Wilder, The Other Half of the Church by Jim Wilder. And I'll be talking about and applying these left brain, right brain concepts. Just real quick, the left brain is verbal. First of all, you have two halves of your hemisphere. In order to understand this, you'll have to get the right people, because I went to Wikipedia, and there's no such thing as left brain, right brain. That's because whoever writes on Wikipedia, anybody can write on there. So Dr. Alan Shore has put forth profound research on left brain, right brain, and there's a lot of stuff out there. But anyway, left brain, right brain. Your left brain is these are two parts of your brain. They need to operate in unison, but they are two different realities, the way they interact with reality. Left is analytical, verbal, it wants to use things. It treats almost everything as if it is dead. And by the way, your left brain does not come online till about 18 months. It's not even developed. Your right brain is implicit, non-conscious, not unconscious, because unconscious starts to get into Freudian, unconscious, preconscious, just non-conscious. It doesn't raise to the level of consciousness. Non-conscious, implicit, emotional. It treats everything as if it is alive. So what you really want to have is your left brain and your right brain operating in sync. So your right brain, you have an experience, it passes to your left brain, it tries to analyze it, understand it, give a narrative for why it is the way it is, pass it back to your right side. But your right side, we want that to lead the operation. If your right side gets shut down by trauma, your left side will take over, and it will be devoid of emotion and relationship. Your left brain, I'm going to throw one thing on you, then I'll go on. The left brain has what's called the left brain interpreter. You want to look it up. It's called the Gazzaniga interpreter. The Gazzaniga interpreter was developed by Gazzaniga and Ledoux, two neuroscientists who were dealing with split brain patients. Their corpus callosum was shut down, didn't develop, or either they cut it in order to try to deal with some issue. So your corpus callosum is a bundle of nerves that ties your left brain and your right brain together. It was not working properly. They would give a experience or knowledge to the right brain without the left brain knowing it. The left brain couldn't see what was going on, can't tie into it. Then ask the left brain what happened. The left brain, the Gazzaniga interpreter, always gives an explanation for what happened, even if it has no information. And you believe it, and you treat it as if it is the only thing that's going on that's real, even though it has no information. So it always is giving you, this is what the real reality is, this is what's happening, this is why you believe what you believe, this is what you do, but it may not be accurate. You need the right brain to check it and to have go back and forth. So real quick, so what? So that means that many of us have stories about why life is the way it is that we believe deep in our hearts, but they're inaccurate. It is perception, but it's perception of the left rather than the perception of the whole. So, real quick, what does that look like? So, let's say you were brought up in a home where nobody liked you. Your left brain may tell you, you are unlikable. Okay? That may not be accurate, but it will be what you believe. It may be that your family is nuts. Okay, but you don't go on what's accurate. You go on what your left brain tells you. So that's why you need your left brain and your right brain. And then on Sunday morning, I'm going to talk about how you integrate those so that from a biblical perspective, it's called the heart. So that the heart, the right side, is leading your heart. You are able to integrate those two. So okay, so that's some of the little bit of what are the stuff of it. Now, even this stuff here, my dear brother right here, we were talking about this. I've read. If you don't get everything you're looking for out this book, and I say some stuff and whatever, I read 12 books by these authors. Okay, so I'm basically taking it out of this book, but every now and then somebody says, well, can you, where is that at? Well, it's in 12 books. But this is basically out of this particular book. Okay, y'all ready to roll? Y'all doing good. I mean, y'all doing good. Okay, let's jump to bonding for a moment. I've done seminars here on bonding, seminars here on boundaries. I usually do 12, 13 weeks on in the summer. Becoming mature requires bonds between people. The foundation is built, which maturity is built. Bonds are the connections that energize us, motivate us, establish our identities, and they're essentially different and incompatible types of bond. In other words, you could be bonded on fear. You could be bonded on love. Some people are bonded to other people because of their fear. There are 4 steps in making shifts from fear bonds to love bonds. Know and enjoy who you are. Take responsibility for your own actions and feelings. Recognize the fear of bonds present in your relationship. If you're afraid, you got somebody, you're afraid to lose them and all that kind of stuff, that's fear. It's not love. A lot of people don't know the difference between love and fear because they've never received it. They don't have it. They've never practiced. It's not been taught. And even then, it's not been practiced. It's not a matter of what you teach. You don't learn stuff from information. You learn it from bonds, people interacting with people, and then they impact you, and you are changed. Most of the people walking around here who are talking about relationships or everything, they're only doing that because of me. That's all. They're doing it because of me, and that's okay. That's good. You bond with people, and you learn from them, and therefore you want to emulate. They've seen me try to love people who are hateful, and they said, Bishop can do that. I want to do that too. I want to live that way. It's called my people. If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray, and it's my people, and that's how you grow. Let go of controlling the results. You got to let go of results. One of the things I was talking to these dear sisters over here about, let me go off on a tangent for a minute just for them, and it'll help you too. When you start talking about systems thinking, I'm doing a lot of reading in a lot of different areas. Quantum thinking, systems thinking. Systems thinking is about complex living systems. When you have complex living systems, they create chaos. And then chaos emerges out of chaos are miracles. So let me synthesize that for you. You can't have miracles without mess. I'm just stopping because I know a lot of y'all don't believe that. You said, you're looking at me, but you can't have miracles without mess and without chaos. That's a part of the living system. And you can't control those kinds of things. You can only yield to them and let them do what they do and work out. And you put yourself in that position and you let it do what it do. Ants, the Bible says, the ants have no leader and they have no chief, but they plant in the summer and they harvest in the fall. Do you know that that's a miracle of emergence? How do ants who have no leader make colony-wide decisions? I'm going to explain it to you, and you ain't going to understand it no better than I do, but I'm going to explain it to you anyway. Ants can read the pheromones of other ants. They read the smells of other ants on a local level, and therefore take action on a local level, but emerging out of that local action becomes colony-wide results. A miracle takes place, and the decisions they are making are for the entire colony, even though the individual ant has no idea how this is contributing. It's an all by itself miracle. Complex systems, chaos, emergence. If you want a paper on that, let me know and I'll give you one because I've written a couple right now. All by itself. The farmer goes to bed at night, plants a crop, gets up in the morning, this is Mark somewhere, 4, and he doesn't know how it grew because it grew automatos is the Greek word. It grew automatically. God has built a principle in the creation that causes things to grow automatically. So there are things you can do and things you can't do. You can plant, you can water, you can go to bed, but you can't make it grow. It grows automatically all by itself. I already gave you the one in Ephesians 4. When the relationships are as they ought to be, each person is energized, the church will grow all by itself. The all by itself principle. The all by itself. I'm trying to release you. You're looking at me like, what is he talking about? I'm trying to stop you from working, trying. I'm going to get this right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it ain't doing nothing. Because you're not cooperating with the all by itself principle. You're trying to do it on your own. And when you try to do it on your own, it creates negative energy. And you end up tied up, messed up, and not going very far. And then you don't know what to do. Well, you just need to yield. Maturity never ends. People need ongoing family, ongoing relationships to stay unstuck in maturity. Maturity is a lifetime. Let's talk about maturity stages real quick. You say, well, it's maturity stages. If you're mature, aren't you? No. You're mature in different levels. So let's talk about the levels right quick, and I'm going to jump through here. Mature infant, 0 to 3. The infant's fundamental need is to receive unconditional love and care. Training and discipline are necessary for the baby to enter toddlerhood. And of course, good training does not undermine the overriding need of a child older 3 to receive love. So most of the first year of development is committed to building joy. That's all, building joy. If you didn't get that, you're missing something. The child over 12 months begins the important task of returning the joy from every unpleasant emotion. The child is learning how to regulate their emotions by dealing with the mothering person. So you develop trust, you develop joy. I'm going to make a statement. Try not to get mad at me. Adult infants who have not received in these important areas as babies will always be needy as adults. Adult infants who didn't receive the proper kind of joy will be needy as adults. And so you end up with somebody, because a lot of y'all, some of y'all are dealing with that. You're interacting with somebody who's needy. They need from you. I need. Okay. Okay. And they're like a black hole, always absorbing, nothing's coming out. Okay. You know what a black hole is? The event horizon of a collapsed star, where nothing ever comes back out. The energy comes in, but we can't see if it ever comes back. Adult infants will not ask for what they need, because they believe if others really cared for them, they could figure out themselves. Come on now. Come on now. You dealt with some of them people. They ain't going to tell you, well, you should know what I need. You should know what I want. No, I don't know what you want unless you tell me. I can't read your mind. I'm not a mind reader. You need to tell me what you want or whatever. Then we can work it out. But that's how couples are. I've done a lot of couple counseling. Of course, you know that. And in my own relationship with people, well, you should just know. I can't know unless you tell me. Now, if you told me and I forgot, you told me and I don't know how to do it, that's another whole problem. But if you never told me, then I don't know. Now, I can guess, but I would prefer to check it out with you. Do you want gold or silver? Let me know. Don't have me guessing. And then I come back, well, I didn't what I wanted. Well, you need to tell me what you want, and I'll try to do that. But I won't know unless you tell me. Children 4 to 12, the child begins to learn to care for himself. A child 4 to care must learn to say what he thinks, what he feels, appropriately ask for what's needed. Christian children need to learn what brings them satisfaction. Children need to learn how to do hard things. Children need to develop personal talents and resources. Self-care requires knowing yourself, making yourself understandable to others. Children need to understand how they fit into the history as well as the big picture of life. Now stop. I'm telling you right now, this is phases of development. It is a course in psychology that you take. This is just in this book, but you need to understand how children develop, help you understand how you develop, so that you can know where you have deficits, where you need to move forward. Child adults who have adult bodies but are emotionally at the child of maturing always appear egocentric. Children, it's about me. And they got to go through that phase. I don't have time to teach you today that our phases are wrong. In America, you come here independent, or dependent. Somebody got to take care of you. You develop into interdependence so that you might become one day independent. That's the West. And what it does is that people walking around as individuals, independent, individualistic, separated from other people, because that's wrong in terms of what would be healthy. You come here as dependent. We teach you a level of independence and interdependence so that you might become independently interdependent. You ain't gonna never become independent because you're always interacting as a person. And really, Dr. Siegel talks about the fact that there is a me and there is a we. Me, there are some places that are personal and there are you and you interact, but it's always in we. You are who you are because of the very first person that you interacted with. And inside of you are multiple personalities and multiple people. So he created an acronym, MWE, M-W-E, because you are the compilation of your whole environment and people and family and whatever. You can't be who you are without them people. Even though in America, that's how we kind of think. I pull myself up by my own bootstraps. I want to see that. Let me see that. Show me what that looks like. No, you are standing on the shoulders of other people. And you get their good, they're bad, they're ugly. You get all of it. We used to say in discipleship, be careful what you disciple because it might be around for a long time. And guess what you disciple? Who you are. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So sometimes when we got disciples and they acting real ugly, they just emulating us. Okay, let's go. That's too much for you. Adult, 13, birth, first child. You will know when a person has graduated from the childhood level because they'll shift from self-centered to both-centered adult. It's not just about them anymore. Adults know how to entertain and remain stable in difficult situations and can return to joy and to self when difficult stuff happens. Immature people disconnect when difficult things happen. You want me to say it again? Yes. Immature people disconnect when difficult things happen and become somebody other than God created them to be. Mature people can stay connected when difficult things happen and remain the person God created them to be. So what happens? That's simple. People get hurt, they do what? They quit. They just disconnect. I'm not doing no more. I'm not an usher no more. Whoa. Wait a minute. What happened? What? No. I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. Well, what happened? They got hurt. And because they got hurt and they don't know how to stay connected, or they don't even know that they need to stay connected, and they become somebody else, selfish, disconnected, hurt, hiding, that's what happens. Parent, first birth until your youngest child becomes an adult. You know that you are at parent stage. However, when you can sacrificially care for your children without resenting the sacrifice or expecting to receive something for your efforts, you have matured. Most parents never mature. They come into me all the time. Bishop, I'm having trouble. Well, that's because you got strings attached. I ain't got no strings attached. I do what I do from my heart. Okay. All I ask is that they would be thankful. I said, there it is, right there. There go the string. That's the string. Do it, but if you ain't thankful, then I ain't gonna do it for you. That's a string. You're doing what you do as the parent, regardless of what they do. If you get nothing from them, it ain't about what they give to you. It's about what you set them up to become. I got 2 books I already told y'all about if some of you are unaware of them. One, when your grown children disappoint you. You need that because there's a silent crisis going on with the children who are immature, boomeranging, coming back home, and you all messed up because you felt like you done messed them up and the American system got you. If you'd have done the right thing, they would have been raised right and they wouldn't be messed up like they are because you, a messed up parent. You by yourself can't mess up your children. You can have impact on them, but there's a whole lot of impact in their lives. This other one is no contact. When your adult children no longer talk to you. We got 2 groups like that. People the children just don't talk to them anymore. Elder, oh, here we go. I got to you. Beginning when your youngest child becomes an adult. True elders can act like themselves in the midst of difficulty. There's a lot of folks who are elder in age, they ain't elder in maturity. This is because they have grown in their ability to spontaneously love your enemies. Then you have a stable identity in Christ. True elders are willing and able to parent and mature the community. True elders realize that those without sufficient biological families need real, live, loving, spiritual families to heal, grow, and thrive. So what do we need? We need some elders. To gather, come to church, and start helping folks. And guess one of the reasons we don't get that? Because we got age-graded Sunday school. And when you got age-graded Sunday school, you're missing the ability of the elders to help the youngers because we're not interacting. So if I got all 21-year-olds together, what do I expect to learn? What 21-year-olds? No. I'm not going to get much beyond that. But if I have multi-level, multi-generational, then I have the ability to have all of that. The young can impact the old can impact the young, all of that. Right? What did the Mandalorian say? The old take care of the young take care of the old. This is the way. Oh, y'all don't even know who the Mandalorian is. Star Wars, brother. The Mandalorian. This is the way. Don't you understand? You're using Christian and terminology and whatever. The Bible says this is the way. This is how we do it. This is how we walk it out. This is what it's all about. The world stealing from, and if you're not listening, they're stealing Christian songs too now. Putting them all in commercials and all kinds of stuff. All right, 8 lessons on the maturity chart, indicator chart. Now you can get this chart. I gave you where you can get it. All people desire maturity, but few people know how to get there. As a whole, our American culture does poorly in the area of maturation. Sadly enough, the majority of our population probably operates at an infant or a child level. That's what we're dealing with. So once again, I need to talk about that. Let me pick this up so y'all won't be looking at it, and it'll bother you. You won't be able to do nothing. Woo! Thank you, 74. So the police stop you, and you do what? Act like a child. That's what most of us do. We act like a child. Why are you stopping me? You have a right to stop me. What's wrong? You're acting like a child. Okay? And that's going to get you hurt, killed, in jail. One of them. Just be mature about it. Hold on, officer, how are you? What can I do for you? You know you just, that was the thing, you know you were going a little faster. Was I? I'm so sorry. Can I see his driver's license? I'm going to reach for it right here. Is it all right if I reach for it? Because I'm not going to give you no reason to shoot me. Okay, we're not going to do that. Okay, I want to end this as quickly and as nicely as possible so I can go on with the rest of my day. Okay, but we're angry children. And then the police officers, they don't understand. Some of them are crazy. Not all of them. Most of them are not. They're not nice. But you might not run into that one. Okay, and some of them have real problems. I used to work on developing police, helping police get training, all like that. And some of them got a real problem that they want to use that gun. Now, you do know that the average police officer will never discharge his gun in the life of his entire service. That's a fact. But there are individual incidents where that will happen because people got issues. Don't give them a chance. All right, let's go. 3. Maturity is not a spiritual gift. It's the byproduct of salvation, something you got to work at. Raising maturity levels increases success, satisfaction of marriages, parenting, leadership. Wait a minute, let me stop for a minute, because are y'all hearing me? Yes. One of the problems that we got is immaturity. So if people just grew up, a person's physical age or stage does not determine their maturity level. That's part of the problem. We're looking at folks that have been around a long time and they're still immature. Each stage includes all the needs and the tasks of previous stage. The lack of family and unresolved pain from traumas can severely block the process of maturity. Wherever you are traumatized at is where some of your growth potential gets locked up and you don't mature anymore beyond that point. You are still back in arrested identity development at a 12-year-old for certain things because you didn't process it. Oh, that took all the amens. Maturity does not increase a person's value or determine a person's value. Being mature is part individual, part family, part community. I'm going to say that over and over again until you get it. Part individual, part family, part community. You need all 3. So that's why people they're not maturing. Why? I got part individual. I go to counseling. I'm in therapy. Good. Do you have a family where you can live that out? No, I don't want to be bothered. I go to counseling so I could get well myself. Well, that ain't well, sir. That's sick. Right, where can I do it? And then do I have a community, a larger community that is the context of my family? I need that. If there's a shortfall in maturity, people can catch up through their own willingness, through help from others, and by the power of God. Praise God. So this chart can be found online. What I just went through, did I give it to you there? Okay, you can find it online. Getting unstuck in your maturity process. Intentionally pursue relationships characterized by love bonds. Y'all know where I'm at now? Okay, that will help you be all you need to be. Find people who can help you. Don't hang out with people who are draining you. Find people who can help you. Identify a few tasks of maturity that are difficult for you and start working on them. Identify past wounds that have stalled your ministry. Seek the help from a trusted friend or a therapist so you can get started. We are all broken to some extent, and we all face the challenges of being wounded, divided, isolated, oppressed. We are all in recovery. I already told you that. We're all in recovery, so we all need that help. We're all going to work on it. Traumas do not receive healing will steadily distract our focus, drain our energy away from reaching our destiny. Recovery is facing and embracing all the pain in our lives so that we will gain maximum growth, learning lessons, gaining power, looking for ways to help others do the same. Those are the goals of recovery. I'm going to go to joy here again. Before I do, I'm going to give you some F's. Not F because you did bad. F's so that you can write them down. And they'll shortcut it. If you're going to deal with your issues, first you have to frame them. Frame. Then you have to face them. This is Joy Johnson F. It's a shortcut. Then you have to feel them. Let me go back for a minute because some of you did. First, you got to frame it. You got to name it to frame it. Name it to tame it. What it is I'm going through. What am I facing? I got to bring it to the surface so I can deal with it. Number one, frame it. Number two, I got to face it. Sometimes we're going through stuff, but we don't want to face the reality of it. It's so painful. It's so, I don't want to go there. But you got to go there in order to be able to move forward in healing. Sometimes people ask me about certain things in my life. Bishop, how do you feel about that? Honey, what do you feel about it? It hurt. It's painful. Well, but I don't live there. I visit there. But I don't live there. I'm not going to live my life in pain. So I go there. I can't stay away from it completely. I got to face it sometime. I do it. That's painful. That really hurts. Okay, I'm there. I cried. Okay, now I'm moving forward. I'm not going to stay there for the rest of my life. Then I got to face it, feel it. Feeling it is a very difficult thing because I got to go down the roller coaster. And when you start going down that roller coaster, you don't know whether you're coming back up. And you don't know whether you're going to make it or not. And that's what a lot of y'all quit. You know, I don't know if I start feeling that kind of stuff, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come back. You will. Going down there. But the lower you go, the more you feel like this is death. I'm not going to make it back up. Then you need to forsake it. There comes a time when I've dealt with it, I've faced it, it's time to forsake it. And if you live long enough, you get healthy enough, you can feast about it. You can celebrate. I don't do that no more. I'm free. That's where the 12-step people got something. We got to celebrate recovery. Celebrate. I'm better than I was. I'm not where I used to be. I don't do that anymore. I'm not just walk down the street. This is grief recovery talk. Recovery talk here. Substance abuse. I walk down the street, I fall in a hole. I walk down the street, I see the hole, I fall in it anyway. I walk down the street, I avoid the hole. I walk around it. I don't walk down that street no more. When the brain works properly the way God designed it, joy is in charge. Brains have trauma-solving mechanisms that allow people to move away from the overwhelming effects of trauma. God has built into you something that wants to get healed of trauma and move back to joy as quickly as possible. It's built in. But if there's not enough strengthening during the early years, then you won't automatically be returned to joy and be regulated by joy, but by something else. Being human and wanting joy are inseparable. We are creatures of joy. It's relational joy. Joy means someone's delighted in me, and I like it. Our Creator made us with brains that will operate like gasoline on joy. Now you need to understand that we are hardwired for negative emotions that come online automatically. We are also hardwired to process in joy, but it's got to be processed in relationship. The first 12 months are used for building joy in the brain. Somewhere between 24 and 36 months, the brain will learn to keep track of circumstances, surroundings according to time, place, wherever, and this is what normally we call conscious memory. By the way, emergence. We can't figure out how multiplicity, a whole lot of neurons, end up in consciousness. You got a whole lot of neurons in your brain. How do they become conscious? It's a miracle. It emerges. Any of y'all horror? Got any horror people in here? Horror. I don't do horror. I don't watch horror movies. But Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein built a monster. The novel says at some point he introduced the spark of life. If you watch TV, when they do the Frankenstein movie, he attaches electricity. Electricity is not the spark of life. Something had to miraculously happen to have a bunch of body parts become a living thing, emerge. God, I'm back, bent down and labored over some soil, some dirt. Breathed, the Bible says, into this dirt the breath of lives, and man became a living nefesh, a living soul. Something miraculous happened when he breathed. And it came to life. It's a miracle. You can't explain that any more than you can explain how a church comes together. We think we can explain it. We can explain it on the, I'm waiting on y'all, imminent level, but we can't explain it on the transcendent level, how people come together and create a church and stick together, and how they become a body, and how it grows, and how you can't explain that. It's a miracle. And so the normal development and strength of the joy identity center of the brain is greatly impaired by two kinds of trauma. What are they? A traumas and B traumas. Y'all learning something. A traumas are stuff I should have gotten, didn't get. B traumas are bad stuff that happened to me. Okay? And that means two different kinds of healing, because you got two different kinds of trauma. During the first year, if your joy strength is crippled, during the second year, the return to joy needs to happen, or you're going to have some trauma. Trauma in the third year break apart our capacity to stay in ourselves, our capacity to feel good about ourselves, our capacity to know who we are. And so Dr. Wilder has what he calls joy camp, where he teaches people how to deal and make joy the base of your operation. I already told you this, but let me give it to you, because we're not going to get to it here. I'm on page 19 going to 37. I only got 30 more minutes. If I'm having problems and my joy is broken, what do I need to do? I heard you. I heard you in the back. What'd you say? Get back to joy as quickly as possible. Quickly as possible. How many seconds? The well-trained brain can get back to joy in 90 seconds. 90 seconds. A non-well-trained brain will take how long? Years. Depends who it is. Months, weeks, days, years, the rest of your life. You're in pain and trauma. So you came into the church today. Somebody said something you didn't like. It short-circuited your joy. Right side of your brain shut down. The left side opened up and you wanted to tell them off. You really weren't going to cuss them out, but you thought about it. It was in church. It's in church. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that in church. Okay, but if I wasn't in church, shoot, you should be glad I'm saved. Okay, but so I'm not going to do that. But so here we are. It's now 11 o'clock, and you still, your joy is still fractured. You should have been able to return to joy in 90 seconds. I know they didn't mean that. Even if they did, that's not where I'm going to live my life. I need the joy of the Lord. I know who I am. I know people love me, and I know what God has done for me. I'm going to overlook what they said and go in here and get what Bishop's got for me. 90 seconds, and I'm ready to go. Or I'll be broken for I don't know how long, and I won't be able to get what I need to get. Now watch this. I'm sorry. You come to church, you drive home the parking lot, and the parking attendant says, you come to the door, and the usher don't speak to you. You go to sit down, and somebody walks over and says, that's my seat. Would you mind giving me my seat? And then I get up and say, welcome to the house of the Lord. You think they're going to get anything out of that service? They're broken. Their joy is short-circuited, and they don't know how to get back. How do I get back from there? Okay, regulating emotions, type A traumas. I'll read this real quick. Type A traumas: not being cherished, celebrated by one parent, not having the experience of being a delight. Some mothers are depressed, and so they couldn't give that. They had their own issues or whatever. They weren't able to give it. Not having a parent take time to understand who you are and encourage you to think and feel. Not receiving large amounts of non-sexual physical nurturing, laps to sit on, arms to hold, willingness to let you go when you have had enough. By the way, if you can torture a child by tickling them. I know you don't know that. You think it's funny. But after a certain point, it's torture and abuse. Okay, so with the laps to sit on, whatever, I know for me, I don't mind sharing some of mine that will help you, that when my daughter turned, when she became a young lady and started to develop breasts and whatever, I was paralyzed. I did not know how to act. I'd never seen anybody interact with a young lady before, and I didn't feel right. And I wasn't going to be accused of sexual abuse or any of that, so I just backed up. Because when you're wrestling and you start to touch different things, and I said, no, okay. I wish I'd had some help, some training, somebody to help me relate to me and say, you all right? But I didn't, so we need to do this now. We don't have any of this now. Not receiving age-appropriate limits, not being given adequate food, clothing, shelter, medical care, dental care, not being taught how to do hard things, problem solve, develop persistence. That's abusing a child. A child's got to learn how to do some hard stuff. If they don't, they're going to have to face it in life. You got to learn how to do some of that stuff. You can't take it all, take it away from them. No, you don't do that. I got it. No, they got to do it. They got to learn how to lose some stuff. We don't know how to do that. You know, your toy got broke. Don't worry. We get you another one. You know, your dog died. Don't worry. We get you another one. You know, you lost your book. Don't worry. We buy you another one. You don't like your husband. Don't worry. We get you another one. We're training something. You're training something. Not given opportunities to develop personal resources, whatever, because some people are living their lives through their children. They want to be what they couldn't do what they did. They want their children to do it. You know, I was a poor athlete, but I wanted to be good. But you're gonna be all that So they're trying to live. All right, type B traumas: physical abuse, face slapping, hair pulling, shaking, punching, tickling the child, or seeing somebody do that, to hysteria. Spanking, that involves violence, leaving marks, bruises, emotional scars. That I knew somebody who was trying to whip their child. They had a belt. They hit the child in the eye, put the child's eye out. Well, they didn't understand what it was all about. Sexual abuse, touching, kissing, sexual kissing, intercourse, any of that stuff. Verbal abuse, name calling, abandonment by a parent, torture, satanic ritual abuse, witnessing someone else being abused. All of that stuff can damage you. And you need help. Yeah. Well, since we're starting the questions, nothing wrong with that. She got a question. I was trying to see where I was going to go, but you got a question. Number one, don't cast pearl before swine. Don't be offering stuff that people don't necessarily want. And you have to understand that not everybody wants what we have. So there may not have been any indication that help was wanted. And you're volunteering something that they didn't ask for. Number two, even if they want help, don't mean they can accept help. People are, if they've got A traumas and B traumas, it may be barriers to certain kinds of help. And so they don't know how to appreciate it, what to do with it, how to respond to it, may be unable to respond to it. With a lot of folks, I can help them deal with their marriages if they could differentiate between can't and won't. Some people, they don't like me, they don't want to do this, maybe they can't. Now, if they won't, that's one thing, okay? I ought to love you, but I don't want to. Oh, that's a problem. That's a problem. But what if I can't? I don't have the capacity. That's another issue then. I won't have to assign blame. I don't have to do a lot of things because you can't. Now, a lot of you, us, we discern that on the basis of comparison. So, should I go here? Y'all won't say that and then be mad at me. So I see you respond to a certain sister at church, but you don't respond to me that way. And I don't like it. So I want the same thing you giving to her. I want you to give it to me, but you ain't her. And you don't act like her. So you want something that I'm giving to somebody else, but you're not that somebody else. You're not satisfied with what we have. I better let that go. So some of it is a matter of expectation, what we want, what I don't know how to receive, difficulty. You're not nice, but you want me to be nice to you. Those kind of things. So they're complex. You know what? I feel like I'm going to stop. I got some more stuff here, but I think y'all got enough of this for right now. I was going to go to the Garden of Eden. I'll just tell you where I was going to go, and then you can ask me some questions for about 20 minutes, and then you're out. I was going to go talk about sarx, the flesh, and how the flesh operates, and how the flesh can impact this whole A traumas, B traumas. It's in the book. You will know your heart. There's some things about dealing with your heart. And then at the end, there is a maturity skills assessment. You can go online, take the assessment. Now let me just make sure you understand from my perspective. I take all kinds of assessments all the time. People say, I don't like tests. I don't take tests because it's not a test. It's just an evaluation. It's going to give you more information about yourself that you can integrate that will help you to grow. So I take all kinds of profiles to learn about myself. Now, there are other ways to learn about yourself. People can tell you. They may be accurate. They may be inaccurate. They may be cruel. They may be loving. So I'm not asking everybody to tell me what they think about me, because they just might do that. And I might not be happy. And it might not be what I want to hear, because it's their perspective of me. It's filtered through them. It has some truth in it, but it's filtered through some stuff. An easy way to do it is take a profile on myself and see what I think about myself and look at it. And if I have friends that are close enough, ask them, how you see me in this. I took this profile, it looks like this. Tell me, and I do that all the time. I've taken DIS&C, Taylor-Johnson, Myers-Briggs, all kinds. Because I want to know about me. Because if I know about you more than you know about me, I can control you. If I know about me as much as I need to know about me, I can heal, I can get better. And so that's what I'm trying to do. All right, a couple questions, and then y'all can go on home. I think we did enough. Don't y'all think we did enough? Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. I need love. I need love. Y'all want to give me a little bit more? I need a little more than that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, what did I tell you? A mature person can ask for what they want. Because I'm going to sit here and go home and be mad. They didn't clap it. No, I'm going to ask you, clap. Clap. I need some more clapping. Okay, that's how we deal with that. All right, y'all kind. Y'all kind. Question. Sister Renee. Okay? Question is, for the tape, you're a grandparent. You see type A, type B traumas in your grandchildren. How do you help with grandchildren without overriding the parents, overstepping your boundaries and those kind of things? First of all, you recognize that you're in dangerous waters because that parent, depending upon how mature they are, may read that. I don't care what you do. Will read it as, so you're trying to do this, or what this is my child. So you have to be, one of the things that you have to be, you got to be better liars. You're not a good liar. You want to go over there and try to be open and all. Don't be open. Close it down. I used to tell my grandchild, look, don't lie. But if they don't ask you anything, don't volunteer any information. Don't go over there saying, Granddad let us eat ice cream. Don't share. Don't share. They didn't ask you nothing. Don't say this. We had a good time. That's all. Don't share nothing. Now, don't lie. And if they ask you a direct question, I'm not asking you to lie. But repeat after me. I used to do this with my grandchildren. Repeat after me. I'm with Granddad. I'm with Granddad. Granddad is the authority. Granddad is the authority when the parents are not here. When parents are not here. Okay? I'm the authority. Don't call your mother or your father. Ask them about doing nothing. I'm the authority. I'm going to call my mama and see if I say it's okay. You don't have to call them. I'll make sure it's okay, and we'll deal with that. Number two, you must honor parents. I never try to undermine parents. But I also, we may have to have a conversation where I raised you. And you don't trust me with my grandchildren? I raised you. Okay, you look like you're doing pretty good. So I can handle this. Give me the ability to be able to do what I'm going to do. Now, tell me if there are certain things you don't want. I understand. I'll try to do that. But some of it is just so it's so tough when you're a grandparent because you've come through that. So your parents are telling you, my kids don't eat no sugar. They ain't allowed to have no sugar. And I'm like, there's a whole lot more that's going to hurt them than the sugar they're going to get. But okay, you can't have no sugar. Your mother don't want you to have any sugar. Okay. I mean, this is difficult. This is difficult stuff. But now, if you got a hold of a candy bar, we're just not going to tell. We're not going to deal with that. Okay? Why go create a problem? Okay, we're just not going to deal with that when they're going to handle it. So it's just tough. I don't know of any easy way. I don't know of any shortcuts. It's just tough. You work through it step by step, point by point. And when they're mad at you, you try to deal with it as best you can. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was like that. And then sometimes I'm talking practical, so y'all forgive me because this is going to cross some of y'all Christian boundaries. It's easier to get forgiveness than it is to get permission. It's easier to get forgiveness than permission. So that means, though, that when you cross a boundary and you have to act like it when it occurs. So when they come back and say, Nehemiah, I don't know, I need a name to somebody, that might be somebody's name in here. Kerplunk said that you gave them a candy bar. They're not allowed to have candy bar. I am so sorry that happened. Would you forgive me? I'm so sorry that happened. On my watch. I'm sorry. You don't just go, well, they got a candy bar, so what? You don't get no more privileges, okay? Now I'm going to be the child come back, ain't coming back over here no more. So you have to act like you're sorry and mean it, because that's their child. And you don't want to set them across that way. So it's hard. I don't know what to tell you. It's hard. Sister Linda. Yes, they coexist because you got both. Many of us have both of those. We didn't get what we should have got at home, and we've had horrible experiences. And so you need to work on both. Absolutely.
So do you deal with the type A first, or does it depend on the trauma?
It depends on what's manifesting. Whatever's manifesting the most is probably what we're going to need to deal with. If something's really causing you flashbacks, things of that nature, we need to deal with that. We need to get that under control. We need to get trauma, any immediate trauma-like responses under control, and then we move to other things. The same way for those of you who are grief recovery folks, you can't do grief recovery when people are traumatized. We got to deal with trauma first. Then we start with grief recovery, because I know that people here, well-meaning people, good people, wonderful people who've been trained by me, they think grief recovery is the answer to every problem. You know, what you need is grief recovery. No, I'm traumatized. I can't do grief recovery when I'm traumatized. I got to deal with that first, get that under control. Yes, sir. Yep, Sister Sandy. Okay, now, you didn't ask a real deep question. I'm going to go off. Because this ain't what you asked. I'm just going off because you asked it. We are aware of the fact now that there's more narcissism in the pulpit than there is in the pew. And narcissists are people who will use the weaknesses of others in order to make themselves feel better, but who cannot feel what other people are feeling. So it is possible that we belong to organizations, churches, or whatever that are narcissistic, that are unhealthy, that may be involved in spiritual abuse. And at certain points, you have to use these characteristics to determine where you are and determine whether you're going to be a part or how you can stay a part in a healthy way. So that's not easy, but it is reality. I used to do some teaching and had a book on spiritual abuse, because a lot of people that come to our church have been spiritually abused. Or any church, they've been spiritually abused. They've been taken, driven, treated in difficult ways, and expected to do what they think they ought to do for the benefit of some leader who may not be in touch with God at all, but just may be living out their own narcissistic dreams, and want a church of 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 just because they want it. And that's what I ought to do. I had a pastor tell me one time, God created me to pastor a large church. I said, oh, okay, I didn't know. How do you know that? He created you to pastor. If he gave you a gift of pastoring, then you would pastor wherever it is he sent you to pastor, at whatever level that is. and make it as healthy as it can. And if it's healthy, it'll grow. And if it ain't healthy, it ought not to grow. And perhaps it ought to die. We don't let churches die. We prop them up and keep them going even when they are dead. Have you ever heard Weekend at Bernie's? You ever seen that movie? Bernie is dead. And they carry him around and prop him up all weekend like he's alive. That's what with a lot of churches. They're dead. But we prop them up. We won't let them die. Churches have life cycles. They have lives. They have to be reborn. They have to come back to life again in a certain period. But we won't let them die. So we keep on propping them up like they're alive, even though they may not be. So you have to figure out how is that a healthy place for you? How are you going to do it? And then there are two questions you have to ask yourself about this. Number one, did God call me to leave or did God call me to stay? Because some people he called to stay and help. Some people he called to leave. The best thing you can do is get out. And if you're the kind of person that think you're going to help them, then you be the one that need to leave. Because most of the time when people are narcissistic, they're not listening to anything you have to say, and you will become the enemy. So the best thing you do is keep your mouth shut, help as best you can, and stay out the way, or you need to leave because you're causing more problems. You say, so what? I'm causing problems. So what? Just because you've graduated from grade school don't mean you need to burn it down. You didn't hear what I said, did you? Just because you've graduated, you feel, I don't need that anymore. I don't need you need to burn it down. Some other people may still need to come through there. Some other people may need that. You don't need it, move on. You've graduated. But other people may. That's a great question. I didn't answer it. You love me regardless. It doesn't matter. But yes, the answer to your question is you have to evaluate. You got to discern. Yeah, and I don't, that's a great question. I don't think, I want to be careful what I say because I recognize the power of words can be powerful, and I recognize who I am, and for some people, the power I can have in their life. I'm not telling you to quit your church. I'm not telling you indiscriminately, just go over there and get out. That's not what I'm saying. You have to evaluate where you are and whether it's going to be healthy for you in the long run. But at some point, you might have to make a decision, I cannot grow here. And I'm going to have to make a different decision. Now, that's going to be painful. Do it right. People come to me all the time. I left my church and I said, go back over there. No, I ain't going back. No, go back over there, talk to your pastor. Do it right. Tell them that you are leaving and why you are leaving. Thank them for what they've done for you up to this point. And then, if that's what you want to leave, then leave. But don't just walk away. That ain't how you came. You came, you got up, you came down the aisle, you got walked down the aisle, they took you in the back, you took literature, you did all that. Now you just want to walk away. If my wife gonna leave me, I hope she tell me. Just tell me. No, I mean, don't just walk away. Tell me, I'm leaving you. When you get home today, you'll notice certain furniture missing. There'll be certain things you won't see anymore. Okay, let me know. Don't just walk away. I come home and just everything is gone and it's blank and I don't know what happened. Okay, if we have a relationship. So don't, I've been in your relationship, I've been feeding you for 12 years and you just walk away. Do it right. And then you'll handle that.
Church leadership, do you believe that the church is doing a good
No, we're not doing a good job because we got issues ourselves. So it makes it very difficult. So we are somewhere on the continuum of doing from a poor job to a good job. So we're not doing a very good job, but we're working at it. The most you can accept or ask, like for some of our churches, is are you willing to work at it? Are you willing to look at it and at least try to move forward? Now, so when you go to most churches, what's going to happen is, and this is the last question and we're going, what's going to happen is they're not even going to hear you. Don't even talk to me. I'll tell you what my pastor told me. You got two choices. We were doing something, and I raised my hand and asked a question. And my pastor was senior and been around a long time, and bishop. And he said, Brother Joey, number one, we don't ask those questions over here. I said, okay. Number two, you have a choice. You can do what I say, or you can get out. And if I remember, I said, right now, I'm going to do what you say. But I'm probably getting out in the long run. That was the nature of the beast. So I understood from there. I ain't got no more questions. I ain't no more. This is where we are. This is how it goes. This is the way. That's the way it's going to be. And eventually, what happened was God had to, as I move forward and as all things, I'm going to fast forward now, and God began to call me into ministry and do various things, I developed an attitude of unforgiveness against those people because of the way they treated me. Because I was not, they wouldn't even call me pastor. I would come back to church and they would say, Brother Joey is here. Now at that time I was pastoring, we were running 800 in attendance on a Sunday morning. They running 50, 25. Brother Joey is here. I said, why y'all want to do that? You can call me pastor. You can call me minister, elder, some title, whatever title you want. Pick out one. Brother Joey. And the Lord spoke to me. And I'm not one of those people the Lord speaks. I can tell you the 5 or 6 times God has spoken to me. He don't speak to me every day. Now, reading the scripture or whatever, I can see God in that and whatever and hear his voice. But I'm telling you, he don't speak to me that often. He don't come up to me saying, Bishop or Joey or nothing. He don't call me nothing because he ain't talking to me. But I can tell you the 3 or 4 times he talked to me, and this was one of them. He said, I want you to go over there. I want you to sit there. And I want you to forgive those people. And I'm going to tell you what I told the Lord, no. That ain't happening. I'm not doing that. They treated me bad. They did it to me. I ain't done nothing to them. Why do I have to go? He said, I said, you go over there, you sit there, and you forgive them. And I fought, and I fought. I seen the Lord wasn't going to let me get away with it, so I did. I went over there, and I sat there, and I let him call me Brother Joey. And when I got done, I really did. I said, that's just who they are. They can't change. That's how they see it. I forgive them. And the Lord released me. I was released. I don't think I've been back to that church since. I was released. I didn't feel any more angst. I didn't feel any more unforgiveness. I didn't feel any more. I was free. Because, see, when you have unforgiveness, it's drinking poison, hoping that the other person will die. But God released me, and I was able to go forward. Because I matured. I grew up. I ain't got to be nothing to them. I am whoever God created me to be. And that's who I'm going to be. Y'all are kind people. Can I pray for you? Yes. And then I'll let y'all go on about your day. And hopefully this is worthwhile for you, so when I do something next year I think I'm going to work on that energy of God stuff, because that's so powerful in order to help people understand how God's energy is working and what he's doing. Father, thank you for these kind people, interested people, attentive people, serious people who want to know more and more about how to mature so that they can walk through their suffering in a way that will glorify you. Thank you for whatever that you've given me and you've put down inside of me, but I pray that more than that, that your energy, which energizes me, would energize them, and that they would be blessed in all that they do. Help them mature. Heal them from type A traumas. Heal them from type B traumas. Allow them to grow up in you, into the head, even into Christ, into all things. I ask you to give us traveling mercy now, wherever we are going. To those who have bought the book or who are buying the book, would you take it and make it real in their lives? And most importantly, we want to glorify you. Unto you be all the glory, majesty, dominion, and power. Bless the churches that are represented here. Would you bless them that they might be able to grow and be all that you've called them to be? We place all that we've done today in your hands and look for aha moments later on today, next week, as some of the teaching is made manifest and applied to our lives. And we'll give your name the praise. And we pray it in Jesus' name. Amen. If any of you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If any of you owe me $20, just go to what's that thing called? Cash App, and you can just Cash App me. If you don't have the money, don't worry.